All right, here we are. I think we're on. I believe maybe it's about a minute early, so take your time and get comfortable. Those of you at home, I don't plan on using anything special, but get a blanket if you need, blocks if you have them. And if you're here, you decide if you want to sit on the floor or up in a chair, same thing at home. So get comfortable and just real easily now, get your feet, your legs, the way that you feel good up into your hips. So if you're in the chair, just make sure your hips distance apart and parallel. And if you're on the floor, stretch your legs out if you'd rather, or sit cross-legged. And close your eyes. And really easily now, just accept your breaths in and out through your nose. Just letting yourself feel the breath coming into your belly. Lengthening up through the top of your head. So it's very easy to feel the belly rising and falling with your breath. Letting your arms now release on out beside you. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down through the midline to be right in front of our chest. So lift your elbows up a little bit here now. Feel the hands pressing a little more firmly together. Feel your wrists. And then clasp your fingers, clasp your hands together. Squeeze your palms together a little bit. And then easily turn your palms away from your chest and press out into the heels of your hands. Just letting yourself feel the shoulders there. Slowly start to rise the arms up now. And you stop along the way wherever you need and stay, right? So, if you don't want to bring the hands all the way overhead, do not. Just let yourself find your shoulders there. Press gently into the heels of the hands. Feel your shoulders coming down away from your ears. And then we're going to release our hands, let the arms slowly float on down beside us here now. And now we're going to start to move our torso with our breath into little circles. So letting yourself now start to feel the breath moving you. Exhaling as you come forward, inhaling as you come back. Doesn't matter how big these circles are. You can stay really small. You can get bigger and bigger with the circles if it feels good. And then we're going to reverse directions. So you stop wherever you feel good to stop and then start to reverse, coming in the other direction. Again, feeling like the breath is leading you. Exhaling your way forward, inhaling your way back. And then finish off. Come on back into center. Stay a little bit forward here. And then we'll rise ourselves on back up again here now. Let your arms release out, straight out from your shoulders. Turn your palms up for a second here now. And then bend your elbows. Let your fingertips come to rest on the tops of your shoulders. And circle your elbows a little bit. Doesn't matter which way because we're going to switch. So they can stay really small, these circles, or get bigger and bigger. If it feels good in your shoulders to let the circles increase in size, do. And then we'll stop and reverse. Let those elbows come the other direction. Again, you can decide to get bigger and bigger or stay smaller. And the next time your elbows come down towards the floor there, towards the ground, go ahead and unfold your arms. Shake your hands out a little bit. If you're cross-legged on the floor, stretch your legs out for a second, but then switch the leg that's in front so that you can just reverse and go the other way. And then bring your arms behind you. If you're on the floor, maybe fingertips lightly just touching behind you there on the floor. If you're in your chair, you can lean back and let yourself open up here. Feel that support of the chair right at the base of your shoulder blades. And let the front body here open up. And then we'll come on back up and let your chin come down towards your chest here now. Release your head forward. And then turn your head a little bit side to side while it's forward. So the chin comes one way and then the other. If you need to stop somewhere and stay for a little bit, finding some release there in your upper back or your neck, do. And then we'll come on back into center and start to rise your gaze on back forward again. Release your arms out beside you. Let's inhale just the right arm up, out and up overhead. For a second, bend your elbow. Let your hand come wherever it wants to, behind your head, on top of your head, wherever feels good. And then stretch the arm back long, right up overhead. And we're going to come over into side stretch. Whether you have your hand on the floor to give you a little support, or you hold on to your chair, or put your hand in your lap. Just breathe into that side you're stretching. And then use your belly to bring you on back up to the top. We're going to lower that right arm on down beside us here now. And let's inhale the left arm out and up overhead. Then again, just bend your elbow. Again, be easy with your own shoulder, wherever your hand wants to come. Just opening up a little bit there in the upper arm. And then we'll stretch into that long arm again. And we'll come over into that side stretch. So your right hand can give you a little support. Let yourself breathe into that side you're stretching. Open up in the ribs here. Good. And then we'll come on back up, lowering that arm on down. And now let your arms come forward. Make a big circle. Bring the arms forward. However they can come up overhead, do, and however much behind you as they come down. And then we'll reverse and reach back first. So the arms come back as far as you can, and then up and over the top and coming on down. And then let yourself float your arms out a little bit, shake your hands out, circle a little bit through your hands. And we're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. And you know, if you don't want to be on your knees, by all means don't be. Use your chair to put your hands on, or put a blanket underneath your knees if that feels better. So that you feel okay about whether you're on your hands too. You can decide to do fist or hold the edge of your chair seat if you'd rather. Take your time. Let yourself just release to look back behind. Look back at your legs a little bit there. And now on your next inhale, send your tailbone back and up. Feel how your belly drops down and your ribs. You can stay looking between your hands, or you can look forward, coming into cow pose. So on the exhale, the tailbone draws up under you, rounding up into your back. And on the inhale, the tailbone reaches back and up. Move your way to that neutral spine, or coming into that cow pose. So start to just flow through with your own breath. Take your time. Just easily feeling that suppleness of your spine. Imagine your tailbone really is the first thing that moves. And then you just flow up through the spine from there. We'll finish off the one that we're on, or that we're moving into. And then we'll come back to more neutral spine, looking down between our hands. And let's step our left foot forward and our right foot back for a lunge here. So it is up to you, as you do come into that lunge, what height your hands are, right? So your hands can be on blocks, your hands can be on a chair, they can be on the floor. You can change the height of your blocks if you feel like you're too high or too low. Just change a little bit there. And then just enjoy. Feel the feet now in the mat, pressing gently away from each other. Engage your low belly. Good, and we're going to switch and come to the other side. So bringing that right foot forward. Again, take your time here. Get yourself into the length of stance that feels good. Make sure that front knee is bent no farther forward than your ankle. And then press the feet gently away from each other. Engage your low belly. Coming up into the hips. Good. And we are going to switch again. again, as you find that stance that feels good to you, if you feel like you want to bring your left hand or forearm up to your left thigh there, you can, or you can bring both your hands up if you really want to. That's up to you, or keep both hands down. And we're going to switch one more time. So again, finding that stance where you're comfortable, whether that right hand or forearm wants to come up, or both hands want to come up, or let yourself experiment a little bit if you want with rising that left hand up, and if it doesn't feel good, put it back down. Good. And then we'll come on back. We're going to step forward. Come on into standing forward bend. Let your knees soften a little bit. Feel the weight of your head. Maybe turn your head a little bit or nod your head a little bit. Feel the feet equal in the floor. And then just release. Wherever it feels good for you to go with your hands. You know that. Support however you need. Elbows above your knees is a good way to support your back. Forearms on the chair, hands on the blocks. Nice, easy, full, deep breaths. And then we'll let our hands come on up to our hips as we bend our knees and rise on up to standing. We'll inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So coming into your mountain pose, take your time here now. You can look at your feet if you need to, walk around a little bit in place, let yourself get real easy so you feel very equal between your feet. As you bring your gaze forward, let your hands come together there. Spread your fingers out a little bit. See if you can feel the fingers connected, the thumbs, whatever part of your palms are touching. Let your gaze come on out like you're looking at the horizon. Coming into that quiet strength of simply standing in your mountain pose. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. We'll inhale both arms all the way out and up. Once they're up there, bend your elbows, clasp your hands, turn your palms away from you. If you need to bring your hands forward, do. And then we'll lean a little bit to the left. Let yourself press up into the heel of the right hand a little bit more there. And then we'll come on back into center, and we're going to go the other way. So letting yourself press a little more up into the heel of that left hand. And then come on back into center. Now, if you're okay to look up, do. Maybe just a little bit, or maybe you want to look all the way up at your hands. One more inhale. And on the exhale, release the hands, bend the knees, and come on forward into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back, wherever you want your hands to go. Blocks, shins, chair. And we'll step the right foot back and find our lunge here. Pressing the feet away from each other, engage the belly a little bit deeper. Inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come into downward facing dog pose. Whether your hands are on a chair or the blocks or the floor, walk a little bit, bend a knee at a time. Let it feel kind of easy to get into your dog. Opening up the backs of the legs, but starting to really focus. Come back into legs being equal. Focus on reaching back through your sitting bones. Finding the length of your spine. Elbows hugging inward. And on the next inhale, we'll come on out towards a plank. You don't have to go all the way, and you know that. If you need to come to your forearms, do. And if you want to bend your elbows a little bit and you like to do a little bit of a push-up, you can. Nice and strong here, reaching your sitting bones down towards your heels. Good. We're going to come on back into down dog from here. So feel the hands as equal as you can. Elbows hugging in. And we'll bring the right foot forward to come back into lunge. Whether you need to put your left knee down to get there or not, totally up to you. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Feet, hips distance apart, parallel as feels good for you. Let yourself release. If you like to bring your hands to your elbows, do it. If it's too much, use support. Easy breaths. Feeling the ribs expand in all directions when you inhale. Letting go through your face, your jaw. And then we'll bring our hands on back to our hips. Bend our knees. We're going to rise up to standing and inhale our arms out and up overhead. Letting our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's bring our hands behind us here now. Clasp your hands together. Actually bend your elbows more. Squeeze your palms together for a second. And then let the palms come apart. You're still interlaced in your fingers, and bring your hands to the right, maybe folding your left forearm onto your low back. And then squeeze your palms together again if you can. Don't push it. If it bothers your shoulder, don't do it, but you'll feel your biceps, feel your shoulders engaging. And then we'll come back down to center, and we're going to go the other side. So again, if you can fold that right forearm onto your low back, if you can squeeze your left palm in, feel your feet equal in the floor now. And then we'll release, bring the hands back down. Now, as you inhale, see if you can let your hands come a little off your back. And then when you exhale, let them come back down. So inhaling, letting the arms come a little away, if possible. Exhaling, letting them come back down. One more time, inhaling, letting the arms come away. And on the exhale, letting them come back down. Now this time, keep your hands down, take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, bend your knees and come forward. Now stay where you're parallel to the floor with your back. Bend your knees if you need. So you've got a flat back, you're reaching back through your tailbone. You still have a little bit of natural curve there in your low back. One more breath with your hands behind you like this. And then release your hands and bring your hands into prayer hands. So you have your hands right there at your heart. And then twist to your right. Your left elbow can come all the way to your right knee if you want. You don't have to go that far. You can just go a little bit. And then come on back into center and twist the other way. So that right elbow can come towards your left knee or not. You don't have to go that low. And then come on back into center again. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward into our standing forward bend, wherever you need your hands to go. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. And we're going to step the left foot back and come into lunge. Press your feet away from each other. Draw your shoulders down. Inhale. Exhale into that downward facing dog pose. Again, your choice where your hands are. If you want to walk your dog a little bit, do it. See if you can also let your head turn a little side to side. Release your neck. Let your face go there. And then come on back into center. Let your next inhale bring you out towards that plank again. Again, you can come to forearms. You can put your knees down. You know if it's too much, you adjust however you need. If you like to bend your elbows, you can a little bit. You can do a little tiny push-up, or you can go all the way into a push-up if you feel like it. And then we'll come on back into down dog again. And we will bring our left foot forward this time to come into lunge. And again, you can put your right knee down if you need to get into your lunge. And then step forward back into our standing forward bend. Take your time here now. Feel the weight of your head. Now, you may want blocks under your hands for this, or hands up on your chair. But let your right foot come a little more to the midline and bring your left ankle in front of your right ankle. So you've got your feet, your ankles crossed, your feet are parallel as you can be, and you've got as fully as you can the feet on the floor. You might need to bend that right knee, that back knee a little bit, which will bend the left knee a little bit too, but just be mindful. It just opens up a little bit deeper, a little more into the back of that right leg and the outside of it as well. So use whatever support you need. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to uncross, and now you got to readjust. So get your left foot a little more towards the midline of the body, and then cross your right ankle in front of the left. And again, you're trying to get your toes facing pretty forward. You're trying to still be in the all four corners of the feet. That's harder on that right foot, but just endeavor to do that. And if you need to bend your knees, do. If it feels fine to be straight, use support underneath your hands or your forearms if you need. And just let yourself breathe, releasing into your breath. Good. And we're going to uncross here, get our feet right back underneath us, hips distance apart and parallel. Let's bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Good. Unfold your arms here. Bring your hands, clasp them behind you again. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, bend the knees and come forward. Now you go as far as you want. You can stay more parallel like we did before, or you can fold over your legs. If your arms want to come away from your back, if that feels really good to your shoulders, let it happen. Now if you can, press your feet into the mat equally. Imagine you're trying to make your mat wider with your feet, but make sure you don't roll to the outside edges of your feet. All four corners of the feet into the floor. One more breath. And then we'll release our arms on down. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. And this time we're going to step both feet back and find a down dog. So ease your way back into your downward facing dog pose, wherever you want your hands to be. And on your next inhale, come on out to that plank again. Now it is up to you if you do a back bend or not. You're more than welcome to stay in plank. You can come down to the floor if you're on the floor and do a little bit of a cobra or a sphinx pose, or you can come into an up dog. And then we'll make our way back again into down dog. So take your time. Walk a little bit if you need to. And we're going to do that same thing. We're going to come on out towards a plank. Again, it is totally optional to do a back bend here. What kind you do, whether you even do one. Good. And then we'll come on back again into down dog. And from here, let's bring our right foot forward to find lunge. And then we'll come all the way back again into standing forward bend. Easy, full deep breaths. Let yourself go there. And if you can, let your upper body just sway a little bit from side to side. Just a little. If it bothers you, don't do it. Feel the feet on the floor. And then end up back at center again. Come into your standing forward bend, feeling those full deep breaths all the way in and all the way out. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips, bend our knees, and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Finding your mountain pose here now. Take your time. If you need to shift around a little bit, do. Bring your gaze on out, whether your eyes are open or closed. Like you're looking straight on out. So your chin is about parallel to the floor. You find this sense of length in the back of your throat, space. Good, and then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us and move around, whatever you need to move. Your hands, your feet, your legs, shake it out. And if you're using your chair, you might want to turn it around. And we're going to come into Warrior 2 first. Have your blocks handy here in case you need them. And we're going to step our right foot back and come into Warrior 2 here, lining up our heels and finding that alignment of that front knee. If you need to look down at it, do. Actually, see if you can take your left hand and put your thumb right there where your leg connects, right up into the torso. Wrap your fingers around the outside of your left upper thigh there, and then just press down a little bit and encourage that outer left hip to drop down. And look down. You can see that your knee lines up there in the center of the foot. Feel that sense of dropping down in that outer left hip. And then start to release into those long warrior two arms, bringing your gaze right out over the top of that left hand. Feel the feet equal in the floor. Feel your shoulders releasing down. Really reach back through the right fingertips as you reach forward through the left. Good. One more breath here. And then we're going to straighten that left knee out. And imagine you're reaching forward a little bit with your left hand and then bring it down for triangle. Maybe to the back of your chair, maybe to the seat of your chair. Maybe you want to come down to your leg or down to a block, right, that is either in front of or behind your leg there. So feel the sense of the thighs engaging up towards the hips. If your right shoulder bothers you, put your right hand just down on your hip. You don't have to add the arm up. That is totally up to you. And then turn to look down for a second. See if that really releases your neck to look down at your left foot. And feel that sense again of thighs lifting up, making space, creating space in your knees here. Now we're going to bend the left knee, and we're going to come on back into warrior two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. And then we'll bring our hands down to our hips. We're going to turn our feet more parallel for a wide-legged forward bend here. Grab blocks if you need them as you come on forward. So take your time. Have your hands either the blocks or the floor. Go ahead and bend one knee at a time as long as that's okay for your knees, so that you just adjust. Give your body a little time to adjust here. And then once you feel okay to come back into center, whether your knees are bent or straight, doesn't matter. Let yourself release to where you can be. So if you want to stack blocks up, get out of your hands, but still have that long back without having weight into your hands and wrists, you can do that. Maybe some of you feel fine to go all the way upside down and let yourself hang, bringing your hands between your feet. Only you know how your back feels. So be mindful. Let yourself let go through your face and your jaw here. So if you're feeling a little clinchy with your jaw, see if you can just encourage, even if it means like moving your mouth around a little bit or opening and closing your mouth, which is kind of harder with the mask on, but just be easy. Let yourself be with your breath. Good. One more nice full deep breath. And now to come up, you decide. If you need to bring your feet closer together before you rise up, do. Letting yourself rise on up to standing and bringing your feet on together. And walk around a little bit if you need to. So if you need to move through your feet and your ankles, do. We're going to move our way to the other side. So right foot's going to come forward, left foot back. Again, lining up those heels. And again, if it's possible to put your right thumb right up there in the hip hinge there. Wrap your right fingers around the outer thigh. And then just press down with your thumb, which enables you to kind of drop a little bit more in that outer right hip. And that right knee should be right lined up. You can look and see. And then we're going to start to reach out again into those long arms, reaching out through the fingertips. So imagine like you're shooting sparks out through your fingertips. Shoulders are softened down, but you have that sense of energy all the way out through your hands. Feel the feet equal in the floor. Press the feet a little away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat. Good. We're going to straighten the right knee out. And we're going to bring the right hand a little forward and then lower it down so you feel like you're lengthening that right underside of the body. So the hand can be on your leg, on your chair, on a block. Feel the thighs engaging up. And again, if your left hip shoulder bothers you, put your hand down on your hip. You don't have to add that arm up. Just be mindful of those thighs engaging upward. Turn to look down towards your right foot now. You can tell if you're rolling on it. See if you can make sure you don't roll to the outside of that foot. Really feel the big toe mound and little toe mound in the floor. We're going to bend that right knee. We're going to come back to Warrior Two. Press the feet away from each other. It gets you right back into the core of the body, the core strength to get you back up. And then we'll lower our hands on down. We're going to turn our feet again, more parallel. Come on forward for that wide-legged forward bend. Again, grab your blocks if you need them. Once you're there this time, go ahead, bend a knee a little bit again at a time, as long as it doesn't bother your knees. And then come on back into center, and let's walk our hands over towards the right, or shift your block towards the right. If you want to go all the way to hold on to the outside of your right foot or ankle, do. Otherwise, stay forward, be on a block if it's better. Now see if you can just breathe. Let the legs adjust. And then we'll come on back. We're going to walk back through center and go to the other side. Again, you can just shift your block and stay just a little bit to the left. You can walk all the way over to hold on to the outside of your foot or your ankle. See if you can release your head once you get there. Try not to tense up in your neck and your face. And then just breathe. And then we'll walk on back into center. And then again, take your time. If you need to set up to give yourself support, do. Some of you might want to hold your ankles, or some of you might even want to put your hands up and clasp them on your back and let the arms come forward like we did in our standing forward bend earlier, or just adjust. Let your body go where it wants. Let your arms do what they want. And now feel those full deep breaths. See if you can let the breaths even out a little bit. Your inhales and exhales being close to the same length. Or even letting your exhales get a little bit longer than your inhales if you can. One more nice full deep breath. And now again, you know when you get ready to come up, as you bring your hands on forward or up to your thighs, you can bring your feet more together if you need to before you come up. If you're dizzy, be mindful. Use whatever support you need. Walk around a little bit. If your feet feel a little stiff like mine do today, work through them a little bit. And then we're going to come into Warrior One this next time. So having your blocks handy towards the front of your mat and letting yourself step your right foot back and drawing your shoulders around square to the front of your mat. Take your time, let your arms hang. See if you can get your Warrior One set up with the shoulders square, the belly engaged. Let this right heel determine what angle it needs to go to so you're comfortable in that back knee and your hip. And now let's move the arms up and down, staying really solid here in the core of the body, the belly, the low back, and the hips. We're going to inhale our right arm out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we're going to lower it right back down beside us. And we're going to go to the left, inhaling the left arm out and up. And let your exhale lower it on down. Let's do both together. Inhaling the arms up if you want. You can touch fingertips together. And on the exhale, we're going to lower them back down beside us. And again, inhaling the arms up. Now, if you're able to clasp your hands up there, do. Send your pointer finger up. Bend your elbows if you need. Hug them a little bit in towards your face. And then send the elbows up a little bit higher if you can. Letting yourself experience that little bit of an uplift in the front of the body. If you want to straighten your arms out, you can. You can keep the elbows bent. You can bring the arms forward of your head, right? You don't have to have your upper arms by your ears. Just enjoy inhaling up the front of the body and exhaling down the back of your body. And then we're going to release to bring our arms on down beside us. And we're going to come on forward into a lunge, bringing our hands down and now adjusting to release that right heel directly behind us. Find your lunge there before you twist. And then when you're ready, bringing your left hand to your left hip and coming into twist, the hand can stay right there on your low back. You can let yourself get really level there in your hips. If you decide you want to lift your left arm up, do. If not, keep the hand down. Lengthening through the whole body here. One more breath. And then we'll lower our hand on back down. And we're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us. Go ahead and let your knees soften. Let yourself release a little bit. Turn your head a little side to side. Good. And then we'll bring our hands on back up to our hips and bend our knees and rise up. We're going to inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Find your mountain pose here now. If you need to shift around a little bit, do. Feel the tailbone reaching down towards between your heels. Nice. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. Shake out a little bit. Again, move through your feet if you need. And we're going to step our left foot back for warrior one this time. So as you come forward, you step that left foot back. You know, the length of your stance is not important. You do want to feel that back foot fully on the floor, the heel on the ground as well, turned inward a little bit. That turn out of that foot, totally up to you. Let your arms release. Let yourself feel the weight of your arms. Good. Now feel the belly just gently engaging. Remember, you're not tucking your pelvis full under you in a warrior one. You're kind of reaching that tailbone back towards the floor behind you, right? And we're going to inhale just the left arm all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we'll lower it back down. And then inhaling the right arm all the way out, really reaching out through the fingertips. And on the exhale, bringing the arm down. So very consciously now, both arms. Inhaling out and up overhead. And on the exhale, lower them back on down. Keep the belly really lifted. And then we'll inhale the arms back out and up. Bend your elbows if you need. Clasp your hands. Send your pointer finger up. Bend your elbows a little bit more if you need. See if you can feel the elbows lift up a little bit. Now you can stay there. You can come into straighter arms or bring the arms forward. Just feel that sense of, again, inhaling up the front of your body and exhaling down the back of your body. One more breath. And then we're going to release to lower the arms slowly back down. And we're going to bring our hands down and find a lunge here. So again, you can be any height you want on the blocks or the chair or the floor. And then getting set in your lunge. And we'll bring our right hand to our right hip and turn into that twist where you have yourself pretty level in your hips. Try not to drop down into that left side, but it feels fairly level. Now, optional to bring that right arm up. You can keep the hand right down. Be where you're able to be. Now, really reach into that inner left heel and out through the top of your head. One more breath. And then we'll bring that right hand on back down. We're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us. Let your knees bend quite a bit. Imagine your belly coming on towards your thighs. Let your head hang. And then press into the feet equally. And we're going to rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Coming into your mountain pose. Feet equal in the floor. Nice. And then we'll let our arms come on down. And again, shake out, move around however you need. We are going to bring our mats into a wall. So here at the studio, everybody has a little wall. Margaret, you can be right there, you'll be fine. And if you're at home and you have a little bit of a wall, let yourself find it, okay? So that you have a little bit of wall there to use if you decide you want to. You don't have to. Grab your blocks, though, 3. So whether you actually put your foot back at the wall or not in this pose is up to you. So you can let your hands come down to your blocks, highest height, get your feet under you, and then you got to judge whether you can get your right foot back to the wall or not. So, you know, like I said, you don't have to use the wall. You can just rise the leg up and let the toes face downward so your hips are level, right? If you have the foot in the wall, it's just a little bit deeper engagement if you push into the wall with that right foot and imagine you're drawing it up towards the ceiling. Now from there, you know, if you're really tight in your hamstrings, the knees can be a little bent. Don't worry about it. You're still developing a lot of strength and stretch through the legs here. Now if you want a little more, you can think about putting your left hand up on your left thigh. And if that's too much, put your hand back down on the block or the chair if you're using a chair. If you want, you can stretch that left arm forward like you're reaching forward, maybe even looking a little forward with your gaze for a second. And if you're like, I've had enough of that, put your hand back down. You can put it all the way back down to the block or the chair if you want. One more breath. And then we're going to put the right foot right back down to the floor, and you're pretty good distance if you're using the wall probably to put the left foot right back up there. So adjust if you need to. And again, you don't have to put your foot on the wall. If you do, you can press into the wall with the foot. Knees can be a little bent. So again, if you're pressing into the wall, kind of imagine you're trying to pull the heel up towards the ceiling too. And feel what that does to your belly. It just fires up. And this might be enough. Again, adding this other part, if you don't have the foot on the wall, of putting your right hand on your thigh might not be so good if you don't have a foot on the wall. So just judge whether you want to bring that hand up or not, or reach the arm forward or not if you want, bringing your gaze a little more forward too. And then again, you can put the hand back down anytime you want. One more breath. Say hello to the legs for one more breath. And then we'll put our foot on back down. And now from here, let yourself bend, get your feet under you, bend your knees and rise on up. And we're going to walk back into the wall. Bring our feet a little bit forward so that you can bend your knees and the knees aren't going out beyond your toes, right? So kind of comfortably. I mean, you can go really low if you want. You know, if you want to put a lot into your quads here, you feel like, I really want to go low. I really want to feel my legs more. Go for it, right? And then bring your gaze on forward here. Let yourself bring your arms forward for a second, like you're reaching with your palms down. And make sure that you're not feeling your shoulders draw away from the wall, right? Good. And then from there, bring your left arm on top of your right. Give yourself a hug. Elbows can melt down. You can stay right here. If you feel like you want to send the backs of the hands towards each other, coming into an eagle or a half eagle arm wrap, do it. If not, don't. You know, be where you can. Just be mindful. Remember, feel the tailbone reaching down. You're not tucking your tailbone forward. Do that, see how it feels, right? But then let the tailbone reach down. You have that natural curve in your low back. Good. We're going to release elbows down, unfold the arms, bring them forward again. Try to keep the shoulders into the wall. And then bring your right arm on top of your left. Give yourself a hug. Again, you can hold wherever you want. More towards your armpits or up and over your shoulders. If you like sending the hands, backs of the hands towards each other, you can. You don't need to. Letting yourself find a release for your own shoulders. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to unfold our arms again. Now, if you want to come forward, you can. You can put your elbows above your knees. You can walk your feet out a little further, bend your knees deeper if you want to. Give yourself support that way. Or you can come into straightening your legs up a little and folding forward over them, but keeping yourself with your hips into the wall. And that's up to you whether you do that or not. That depends on your back, right? If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Keep the length of the back going here with support, elbows above the knees. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to bend our knees, press into our feet. We're going to rise up wherever we were, walk our feet on back. Good. And move around a little bit. We're going to come down onto our bellies on the floor. So take your time, get yourself on around so you can lie on your belly, however you want to get down there, right? And take your time to stack your hands up or find a comfortable way to rest your head, or you can release here. Let your knees bend once you get settled a little bit, and let your feet circle. So you feel the feet circling one direction and then the other. Lower legs can go side to side too, and windshield wiper blades if that feels releasing for you. Good. And then come on back into center. And then from here, release your arms so that they come down alongside your body. Turn your palms down towards the ground. Lift up to the tips of your fingers and the tips of your thumbs. And then see if you can just float your head a tiny little bit so your forehead isn't on the floor anymore. It's not high. You're feeling that little bit of a lift there. And then see if you can add your legs. So your legs and down, your chest is up, your head. And then add your arms too, so that your hands are off the floor. Fingertips and toes are reaching back towards the wall behind you. Coming into your locust pose. Good. We're going to come down with our left forearm parallel to the front edge of our mat. We're going to put our head down on that left forearm, and we're going to bend our right knee and flex our foot. Now, where you go from here, you can stay right here and be happy. You can lift your head up so that you come a little bit up again with your head and your chest. And some of you might really want to reach back and get hold of the top of the right foot or the ankle. So you're half bow pose. You don't have to get the foot to be in it, right? If you have the foot, you might want to pull the heel in towards your buttocks a little bit just to feel that quad stretch there. And then if you push the foot into your hand, maybe that'll lift you up a little bit higher in the upper body. One more breath. And then we're going to come on back down. We're going to bring the right forearm parallel to the front edge of the mat, and we're going to put our head down. And we're going to bend our left knee, flex our left foot. Feel the heel just drawing in towards you. Again, you may stay here. You may want to lift your head up a little bit. Totally up to you whether you want to reach back with your left hand, get a hold of the top of the foot. Again, if you have the foot, maybe you can experiment with pulling the heel in towards you a little bit. And then if you start to push the foot into your hand a little bit, sometimes that enables the upper body to come up a little higher. You can always adjust that right forearm to give you a little support. Nice. And then one more breath. And then we're going to lower down, straighten long legs here. Bring your arms back alongside you, palms facing down. And on the next inhale, float yourself into that locust pose again. Now, if any of you want to come down from locust, bend your knees, reach back and get hold of both feet. You can press your feet into your hands and come into a little bow pose if you choose. You don't have to go up high to be in a bow pose. If you press the feet into your hands, let yourself feel a little bit of lift up with the feet. And then we'll come on back down. We're going to make our way towards pose of a child from here, which should be a big, huge relief, no matter what you've been doing. So shift your way back. If you need to stay somewhat forward on your forearms, do. You know, if you can shift back and let yourself release your chest kind of between your thighs there, you can. And adjust your arms where you're comfortable. I mean, you can use your hands for a pillow. You can let yourself bring your arms softly overhead. Or you can release your arms back alongside your legs. Turn your palms up if that releases your shoulders better. And just let the breath come into the low back. Nice, full, easy, deep breaths. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to come on up. So let your hands come by your knees if you're in that child's pose. We're going to come on around, and we're actually just going to come all the way around to lie down on our backs. But before you do, have a block handy so that you have it if you need it. Let yourself come on down onto your back. Bring your right knee into your chest and extend your left leg down long on the floor. Flex through both your feet gently now. Feel that right leg coming into your hands. Good. And then we're going to bring the left knee in and extend the right leg down long on the floor. Whether you hold behind that left thigh or on your shin there below your knee, just feel the leg pressing into your hands. Natural curve coming back into your low back. Good. Let's bring the right leg in again. Extend the left leg. Well, actually, no. Put the left foot on the floor. So your knee is bent. Your left foot's on the floor. Hold behind your right thigh and extend your right foot up towards the ceiling, like you're putting a footprint on the ceiling. Keep the knee kind of bent for a second. And then you can decide as you come into a little bit straighter right leg, does it need to come farther away from you? Or do you feel like using your hands to bring the leg in a little closer to you? You know, you can reach up and hold on your shin, your calf, or your ankle, or even your foot. Just let the back of that right leg find openness there. Now, if you can extend your left leg down long on the floor, do. If that feels like too much, don't do it. Good. We're going to bend that right knee back in towards the chest. And we're going to bring the left knee in. We're going to put the right foot on the floor with the right knee bent. Hold behind your left thigh. And start to extend the foot up. Again, keep the knee bent for just a second. Give your leg a little time here. Now, when you do think about coming into a straighter leg, again, you do what feels right. The leg can come farther away from you. You may decide you want to hold on with your hands, let the leg come in closer, hold on to your foot or your ankle or your calf, or behind your thigh is fine. And now again, this extension of the right leg long is up to you. If you can extend that right leg down on the floor, you can let yourself find a little bit more there. Good. One more breath. And then bend that left knee. Let both knees come in towards your chest here now. And let the knees come side to side. Or if you feel better to circle your knees, do that. If that feels better on your back, on your sacrum. Find the best release for you. Good. And then we'll bring our feet onto the floor. Let's bring our arms down alongside us. Now, if you like your block for a supported bridge, you're more than welcome to grab your block and use it. You can bring your arms down alongside you, bending your elbows and letting your palms face each other, pressing into the upper arms and floating up into your bridge. And again, if you prefer a supported bridge, use that block and let yourself rest on the block, right? Any height you want to be. So remember, if you're in your bridge pose, you don't want to feel a bridge pose in your low back. There's this lengthening down of the top buttock muscles down towards your knees. You're also really lengthened in the front of the body. You'll feel your thighs. If you want to feel your thighs more, lift your heels up. You can actually feel the hips rise a little higher then. So you can play a little bit You can, if you're wanting to be supported, you can play even being on your block. If you come down to the block and it feels very good to you to lift a leg up in the air or both legs up in the air, you can while you're supported. And that is really up to you. So kind of adjust to what your body needs today. Personally, if I'm on the block and I want to do a little more, I like to do just a little bit of leg lifts, legs lowering one at a time, up and down, so that I engage a little bit more in the belly and the low back. But it's up to you. Being up in your bridge pose, staying there is great. Moving up and down from bridge. Remember, you don't want to tense your way into bridge pose. Good. Now be mindful when you get ready to come down from bridge, right? Whether you're up on the block or not, just be really easy when you do come back down to the floor. And then once you're down there, let your right knee come into your chest and then your left knee come in towards your chest. Some of you might even just want to hug your knees in or even lift your face up to let your face come in towards your knees, round up into a little ball if that feels good. And then we'll come down. Let's put our feet back onto the floor and cross our right thigh over our left, right? So if you can do like the woman cross-legged do, if you need to do a figure 4 do, that's fine. And then we'll bring the knees in towards the chest, flexing through both the feet. So you can hold like behind your thigh, your bottom thigh there, flexing through both the feet. Same thing if you're in the figure 4, if that's better for you, but just let yourself release there. Feel the hips, especially that top hip, the right hip. And then we'll bring the left foot back down. We're going to uncross and we're going to switch and go the other side. So left thigh over thigh if you can. If you need to do the figure 4, do. If you can bring the right foot off the floor, flex through the feet. You can hold behind that right thigh if you can. Just let yourself release there. Keep the feet flexing. Keeps you engaged in your hips. Good. And then let the right foot come back down, uncross your legs again, and walk your feet towards the outside edges of your mat. And then bring your arms up overhead like you're reaching towards the corners of your mat, like you're in a wide V. You can even go wider if you want, but let the elbows relax. Let yourself soften your arms. And then let your knees come over to the left and do a little twist here. Now you can, if it feels better to you, to keep moving side to side. You can move inhaling when the knees come up and exhaling when they come over to the other side, right? So you pick for here. Do you feel better to let your knees hang on one side for a little bit? Let that openness happen there in the top hip, the front of the top hip, or maybe it feels better to go back and forth. Just be mindful. And you know, if you decide there is something else that your body wants to do right now, by all means, adjust your way into doing whatever feels good right now. So take your time. If you need to come into a happy baby, or you need to come into any other pose at all that sounds really good to you, or any movement, it can be anything. Take your time, let yourself adjust however you need. And as I start to get some of the lights and start to walk around here at the studio, you know that I would be happy to bring anything that's going to help you be more comfortable. If you need to turn around because you feel like you're turned the wrong way, and you know you're going to feel kind of odd if you're not the same way you usually are, by all means feel free to do that. Bolster? Yeah, I'm going to start to bring bolsters around. So I have a few inklings here at the studio. Those of you at home, if you need a bolster or something under your knees and you don't have a bolster, a rolled up blanket can be really nice. Anything that brings you into your knees being softened and changes actually the angle of your pelvis a little bit, and sometimes that can be a huge relief. Not always. You've got to be mindful of how it feels for you. And also, another thing you can do is turn to lie with your legs up the wall. And that means you can be fairly close to the wall with your hips. You can put a little support even underneath your hips if it feels good. Or you can be a little farther away from the wall as well. So you get comfortable for you, right? We are all different. There is no right or wrong way to be in Shavasana. Just let yourself get easy in your shoulders and your hips. If lying down doesn't feel good on your back, you can try your side. You can always sit up. If you'd like to sit with your back against the wall, you can too, to give yourself support. But just close your eyes now and let your face start to feel soft. Imagine your eyes are kind of melting back into the sockets. And start to just watch and be with your own breath. And your mind will not stay with the breath. It will start to think. That's what our minds always do. But just gently, when you find yourself off into a thought, just gently come back to your breath. And the breath will start to quiet. Your mind will start to be a little less busy. Give yourself these few quiet minutes just to give your body and your brain time to benefit from all we just did. Allow yourself to completely and fully relax. yourself back into feeling the ground underneath you, supporting you. And letting your fingers and your toes, when you're ready to move, start to wiggle a little bit, moving into your hands, your feet, when you're ready, your arms, your legs. You know, take your time. Give your body time to adjust there, and your brain. If you need to stretch or if you need to bend. If you like rolling to either your right or your left side, if that's comfortable for you, you can let yourself stay on your side for a little bit to make it a little adjustment there. Just take your time so that when you do feel like you're ready to rise up, it feels okay to let yourself get comfortable sitting with your head up there again, up on top. Letting your eyes stay closed if you can, and allowing yourself to feel the top of the head gently rising upward, the sitting bones gently reaching down, finding all that space in your spine and coming back to your breath. And on your next exhale, letting your hands come gently to meet there in front of your chest, in front of your heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Namaste. Happy Monday.